Hey everyone, continuing our Ravens top 5 series, we are at play number 2 on the season by win probability added for the Ravens in the passing game. So once again, we're going through the top 5 passing plays of 2024. And this play happened in overtime in Cincinnati in the first matchup with the score tied 38-38, 7.5 minutes left to go in overtime. And the Ravens facing a 3rd down and 5 from the 46. And, this is another great example of quick route running from Batemen. And in my opinion, also shows something which the Ravens could look to improve on in terms of passing delivery and maybe thinking a little bit bigger. In a previous video, I think in one of the San Diego Charger game? The Giants game. In the number 5 play, I think, in the Giants game. Number 5 play we went through in the Giants game, I spoke about a receiver having the intention to get to the end zone and thinking about touchdown. When I catch this ball, I expect to score. This is a play which, most coaches I think would actually be divided on. On a critical 3rd and 5 here, Batemen is going to put a nice outside move on the corner, and he's going to break wide open over the middle of the field. And then he's going to jump up, secure the catch, and kind of roll forward, bounce forward for another, 7, 8, 9 yards. I think this was just before the fumble in overtime that led to another fumble. It was kind of a wacky overtime situation. But I want to focus first on the route running from Batemen. Single high safety with the man coverage, it looks like on the outside here. And he knows that this corner is going to be responsible for the outer half. He's responsible for any outside release. So he gives him what he wants. He gives him a quick outside step. I'm doing it in slow motion just because it's going to be really great to see right there. That first step to the outside, and the corner overreacts to it. Bateman, you can see that hand. He's trying to get his balance back as Bateman changes direction. Bateman breaks wide open over the middle of the field. And what I think coaches would be torn on is on such an important conversion in overtime, you kind of want to really make sure you secure the catch. And, you want to make sure you get that first down. Sometimes that means you slow down a little bit as you go into this. As you feel that you're wide open, you kind of slow down and, the ball gets kind of thrown on you as opposed to being thrown in front of you. You can see him kind of slow down to make the catch easier because the ball's thrown like more on him than in front of him. And then he secures the catch. And you can see like he's kind of keeping two hands on the football. He's not trying to run up and make another move. Even as we go forward, you see those two hands are kind of firm on the football. But this is where I think the Ravens kind of miss an opportunity here. He really breaks wide open. You can see the corner is kind of just flailing to stay with him at the top of the screen here. If he catches this thing running full speed, he's got one man to beat to the end zone, and he's probably at least got an angle to get to about the 10-yard line. Just looking at it from here, he's going to get to about the 10-yard line minimum. Between running down the sidelines and getting pushed out of bounds, maybe the 25, 20-yard line. Like by kind of conservatively hanging on to this ball, and maybe by Lamar throwing it a bit too conservatively, instead of throwing it out into space here, you can see Bateman jumps to slow up his momentum to catch the football. So maybe that's more of a communication thing where like, okay, this time we're just trying to get this first down instead of trying to score. But this, you don't get opportunities like this with a receiver running an open field, with a catch that could lead to a guy running an open field with one guy to beat. This is one which, like, if you remember, like the Odell Beckham touchdown that went against the Ravens to beat us in New York one year, we've seen guys take this sort of slant, skinny post route, a long way. The Alvin Harper kind of bang eight route. This is one which Lamar and Rashad could look at the tape and be like, maybe we need to try to convert this into a bigger play when you have this much of an opportunity. So once again, I do think that coaches would be kind of torn on it because you really want to secure this catch. And sometimes, quarterback and receiver, they communicate that way, like, hey, just slow up here. We need to make sure we get this first down. So you want to just be assured of the catch and the ball security. But this is a play which really could have gone, I think, it could have been a touchdown at the very least, gotten them another 10, 15, 20 yards. This is one which I wish that they could have capitalized maybe a bit more on. The Ravens won the game anyway. But just an interesting, point where, different coaches, different quarterbacks and receivers could react to the situation differently. I don't think there's much else on the play. You have pretty good protection. Nothing, the ball gets out pretty quick. Maybe Linderbaum gets beat a bit on the inside here, but protection-wise, the ball's out pretty quick. You could see that it's meant to be like a bunch of three-step, quick throw type of routes. There's no like, vertical or anything like that. So this ball is definitely designed to get out quick, and the Ravens are able to convert a really crucial first down, which it didn't lead to the game-winning score, but definitely was a crucial play in the moment in overtime in the first game against the Bengals. So once again, guys, thank you guys for watching, and we are going to get to the number one play on this list, which is also, funnily, against the Bengals. Pretty indicative of the wacky games that we played with them over the course of the season. So thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.